If you've had an eye on the news, you probably know by now that the US might be heading down the road for a recession. For some economists, it will begin sometime in the year 2023, but for others like the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, the possibility of a recession is quite low, considering how employment rates have been on a bullish trend. Neither side is wrong in their perspectives because they both have standard judgments of the economic situation. The point is, if you want to flip from your current job right now, the chances that you'll do that successfully are pretty high. But should you? In this video, we're going to discuss why it is probably not a good idea to switch jobs before a recession. We will analyze the variables at play and tell you the alternatives you could consider in place of a switch. Slow down. What recession? During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, businesses were forced to reduce their employee numbers and many had to shut down. The government released trillions of dollars in stimulus to support the economy and reverse the downturn. To complement this, the Fed drastically reduced interest rates to encourage investments. Today, coming out of the lockdown, there is a lot of money in the economy as people are trying to catch up on the things they missed. Companies that laid off their staff have numerous openings available with barely enough workers to fill them. And because the competition for employees is now intense, you are in a much better position to either ask your boss for an increase or switch to a more profitable job. Still, remember that while the Fed may want investments, it does not want prices to spiral out of reach. The more money everyone has to spare, the higher the inflationary pressure on goods and services. So what does it do? It jerks up the interest rate, encouraging people to put their money in the bank and ultimately reduce demand. But while this is good because you now have to pay less, businesses which rely on loans to expand and create new jobs become reluctant to take them. As a result, a decline occurs in profitable activities, which consequently force companies to reconsider their expenses and downsize. As for how this links back to a recession, there is an underlying impact on gross domestic product. The increase in interest rates makes it difficult to afford mortgages, forcing down sales of new homes and reducing construction. Combine the ripple effect of this with the drop in new investments in other sectors, and what you have is an economic decline. Also keep in mind that when businesses have to pay higher wages without the extra income from expansions, they lose their excitement for hiring new workers, and will then begin to fire some existing ones. Fine, why shouldn't I change my job? The first thing to consider before going on a new job search is whether you might be retained at a prospective company in the long term. While hirings have largely increased, some companies in tech are showing signs of skepticism and may implement layoffs in the nearest future. Ensure you research performance before jumping on the wagon of a new posting. If the signs are not encouraging, you might want to continue with your current bosses. It's also a great idea if you do not err on the side of overconfidence and quit your job when you're not so certain of a new one. Also, since it is likely that business managers are already weighing the effects of a potential recession, they will only be aiming for the best hands. The employment boom will cool and only the most qualified professionals are certain to survive it. So before thinking of moving, consider your skill level in relation to your status at your current job. If you think you would be quite the catch for any company, cool, you just might be. However, focus must always be on improving your competence. You want to be highly regarded at any outfit if things travel south. In addition to this, some important questions you need to ask before shifting to another place are whether that move is integral to your long-term career growth. Is it actually the opportunity you need to get ahead, or it's a highly risky one that might eventually stall you? Analyzing these issues within the context of a recession will save you the heartache of making an uninformed choice. How do I protect myself from a layoff? As we mentioned, being very good at your job should give managers a pause when they consider firing you. But you could further hedge your bets by developing good relationships with coworkers and superiors. You cannot afford to be the scowling, reclusive Donald that no one will really miss. We are not asking you to overdo the friendship, simply ensure that there are colleagues who will speak on your behalf in the boardroom. Even so, you must acknowledge that there isn't a 100% assurance of security at any job. Losing one to gain another is pretty much a norm in the labor market, and you could avoid being surprised by staying updated. You want to keep an eye on the news for trends while maintaining consciousness of events at your office. There will usually be telltale signs of a layoff, and if necessary, ask your boss to offer clarity. A great management will always try to connect with staff and give them a heads up on any issue. If your fears are confirmed, try indulging in financial safety nets before the D-Day. It is important to mention that you should not allow your fear of a recession to force you to remain at a toxic work environment or to endure harmful conditions. The ultimate factor that will influence your flexibility with job openings is whether your position is strong enough to get a nice bargain. That sets you apart. Are there other ways to guarantee employment during a recession? What additional factors can make it easier to change jobs? Reply in the comment section, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the like button. See you in the next one.